So here's the deal. We're wrapping up our vision series, and if you can't tell, I'm in a great mood. I'm in a great mood. The sun is shining. I woke up. I'm in a great mood. I was out front at the 9:30 service, shaking hands and greeting people, and this strapping older gentleman's walking towards me, and I kind of shake hands, and we go back and forth. I said, "Isn't it a great day?" He said, "It's a great day." I said, "Don't you love church?" He said, "I love church." And then deadpan, he goes, "Except for the pastor." And then he jabbed me in the gut. I'm still in a great mood. We're going to dive into the vision series, and we're going to wrap it up here this week. And as I told you the previous weeks, I really wanted a nice, neat package for this series. I really wanted to go out for the summer, to pray, to fast, to journal, to have meetings, to talk to good people, and wrestle down the answer to the question, God, where is our church going? What do you have for us in the future? And I wanted to come back to you with a nice, neat thing that I would present to you, and you would all say, "We're so lucky to have you as our pastor." And I would say, "I know." And here's the thing. The Lord did not seem the slightest bit concerned with my timeline and schedule. I told the Lord, I want to do this sermon series in September, and he kind of said, "I don't care." I told the Lord, I need a nice, neat vision package that I can give to our board and our staff, roll to our church family. And he was like, "Yeah, that's fine." Like, have you noticed in your faith journey that no matter how urgent and worked up you are, God does not seem to embody your urgency? Have you noticed when you're all worked up and you try to work God into a frenzy, he is very comfortable to stare back and calmly say, "I know"? Is it just me, or have you noticed that? God is very comfortable with me being uncomfortable. And all summer long, he and I were just kind of having it, and I kept telling him how frustrated I was with him for not getting on my agenda. I kept saying, God, I'm feeling the tension of not knowing what I want to say to the church. I kept telling him there's an uncertainty about where you're calling us this next year, and he just didn't seem to care. So over the last few weeks, I brought to you what I've been sensing. It's not done. It's not packaged. It's not fully complete. It doesn't even fully shape the ministries that we're going to do in the days to come. But here's what I've been sensing. That we're going to be a church that will embrace life with Jesus for the renewal of Southwest Nova. And that's been bubbling up, and that's been making sense in various components and parts of the church. But it hasn't been unclear. And so I have felt tense and uncertain. I have felt tense that he's not cooperating, and I have felt uncertain that once we roll this out, I don't fully know where he's going to lead our church next, and if I can go one layer deeper, I don't know if you'll all come with us. Just because a pastor declares a new day does not mean everybody signs up for the new day, right? And so I've been telling the Lord, I'm a little uneasy with what's going on here because you don't seem to be giving me much clarity. And then I don't know why God is so generous sometimes, but I felt him whisper, "Welcome to faith." Is that not the definition of faith? Tension and uncertainty. You can't believe in anything in the future that won't require tension and uncertainty. Whatever you want to believe in the future, that requires tension and uncertainty. And so even when it comes to a vision, even when it comes to God, where are you leading us? There is a gap between today and tomorrow's reality. That's the vision. That's what a vision is. And talking to the Lord about the gap, he just seems so comfortable to let me and us sit in the tension. I want to preach to you an extremely pastoral word this morning around tension. I want to bring a sermon to you that I am so deeply moved by that I think is going to help so many people in this room. If you never come back, I'm just thankful you were here today. If you come back, that's awesome, but I want to talk to you about tension and uncertainty. So if you have your Bibles, can you go to Mark chapter 9? Mark chapter 9, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. The second gospel in the New Testament, Mark chapter 9. If you still bring a Bible and mark it up and circle, that's phenomenal. If you bring a phone, you can kind of scroll and find the passage. But Mark chapter 9. Here we go. And when they came to the disciples, they saw a great crowd around them. They were up on the Mount Transfiguration. Jesus and a couple of disciples went up. God pulled back the veil of heaven, and a glorious picture has happened. They come back down. They came to the disciples, and they saw a great crowd around them, and scribes arguing with them. And immediately all the crowd, when they saw him, were greatly amazed and ran up to him and greeted him. And Jesus asked them, "What are you arguing about with them?" And someone from the crowd answered him, "Teacher, I brought my son to you, for he has a spirit that makes him mute. And whenever it seizes him, it throws him down, and he foams and grinds his teeth and becomes rigid. So I asked your disciples to cast it out, and they were not able." And he answered them, "O faithless generation, how long am I to be with you? How long am I to bear with you? Bring him to me." And they brought the boy to him. And when the spirit, the demon, saw Jesus, immediately it convulsed the boy. And he fell on the ground and rolled about, foaming at the mouth. And Jesus asked the father, "How long has this been happening to him?" And the father said, "From childhood. And it has often cast him into fire and into water to destroy him. But if you can do anything, have compassion on us and help us." And Jesus said to him, "If you can, all things are possible for the one who believes." And immediately the father of the child cried out and said, "I believe, help my unbelief." And when Jesus saw that a crowd came running together, he rebuked the unclean spirit, saying to it, "You mute and deaf spirit, I command you to come out of him and never enter him again." And after crying out and convulsing him terribly, it came out. And the boy was like a corpse, so that most of them said, "He's dead." But Jesus took him by the hand, lifted him up, and he arose. And when he entered the house, his disciples asked him privately, "Why could we not cast it," being the demon, "out?" And Jesus said to them, "This cannot be driven out by anything but prayer." Do you hear tension in this story? There's some tension in this story. There's tensions in this story. Now, what I really want to do, because tension is such a part of our faith, I'm actually not going to limit it to one tension. I want to show you 5 tensions and focus on one. But what I want to do, this is going to be for a purpose. I want to show you things that I see in the text. Maybe you see it too. But if you'll let me, I don't want to answer all the tensions. Jesus doesn't answer all the tensions in the passage. I want to give you space to sit in the tension because tension is part of our faith. Is that fair? One or two of them are going to make a couple of you really uncomfortable. Let me pastor us through this. Rest easy. I will make you uncomfortable, and then I will relieve a little bit of the tension. Is that okay? All right, first tension in the passage, the jarring words of Jesus. Did you see them? Anybody see the jarring words of Jesus? Anybody feel uncomfortable by his words? You have this issue where they're all arguing because the disciples couldn't heal the dad's kid. And so Jesus comes up, "Why are you all arguing?" And the dad jumps out and says, "I asked them to do the healing. They couldn't do it." And then do you hear Jesus' words? Here's his words. Ugh. That's in the original. Ugh. When he says the words, "How long do I have to be with you, you faithless generation?" Do you feel it? How many have you ever said the words, I don't know if I like God of the Old Testament. He seems mean. I like Jesus in the New Testament because he seems nice. Anybody ever say that? Come on. The amount of people who like Jesus sometimes causes me concern that they don't know Jesus. There's this image sometimes that Jesus is kind of my homeboy. He's super affirming. Just get a high five or a fist every time I see him. He just is kind of cool with everything I do. But watch out for God the Father, because God the Father will take you to the woodshed. What do you do with words from Jesus like, you faithless generation, how long do I have to be with you? Does that sound warm and cuddly? That sounds jarring. That sounds uncomfortable. I wonder how many times Jesus has looked at me and said, AJ, you faithless man, how long? Maybe. There's just a jarring honesty and truth to his words that creates tension in my spirit that I don't want to be somebody that Jesus would say that about. I feel the tension. Second tension, and this one is a doozy. Some of you need to grab the sides of your chair and just kind of hold on. Are you ready? You don't sound ready. Are you ready online? What do we do? What do we do when we try to medicate spiritual issues? And what do we do when we try to spiritualize medical issues? You still holding on? Do you feel the tension yet? Okay, I'll go one layer deeper. If you fire me, I'll find a new job. You ready? I got options. So you ready? Here it goes. In our modern culture, is it possible that we are medicating some things that might be spiritual matters? Let me go the other way, though. Is it possible sometimes people are spiritualizing things that need like a tangible medical answer? Some of you think I'm going to fall off this stage from time to time, don't you? The old church, the stage was up here. And I would get preaching and have my feet on the edge. And one time I did like a wobble, and I think half of you had a minor heart attack in the moment. If I fall off this stage 2 feet, and because I'm a wimp, break my ankle, and you all come around me with my broken ankle, may I just say now, for the record, keep your prayers to yourself. Take me to the hospital where the wonderful, please hear me, the wonderful, angelic, saintly beings who work at that place. You better say amen. When those people come to me and give me a questionnaire, what bothers you right now? I'm not going to tell them I need prayer. I'm going to tell them I need an x-ray. Fix my ankle and put me in a cast. Can I get an amen? Sure. Obviously, pray for me on the way that I get, sure, but I need medical help. But church, I'm not sure we pause in tension very often to even ask the question, is this physical or is this spiritual? Now, there's a moment and some of you are like, answer the tension. I can't. It's too nuanced. But I would just say to you, as you follow Jesus, if you never pause to ask, is this actually a spiritual issue? I would just say you might be missing a big chunk of your faith. Is that okay? You all right? If you need to see me after, you know my email, davehockley@gmail.com. That's been a long time since I've gone there. Third tension. Does it feel like we are dangerously close to a name it and claim it theology? Anybody else hear it? I read it all week. It's like, boy, Jesus, you are getting really close to name it and claim it theology. Like, listen carefully to the one who believes anything is possible. If we're not careful, the tension feels like if you believe in your heart and if you want it bad enough and if you wish upon a star, then God will do it. That's how this happens. Because it feels like if I don't believe, God can't do the miracle. If I believe, God might do the miracle. But if I believe, he might not do the miracle. And so the tension becomes around like, how much belief do I have to have? And if I squint my eyes really hard and get in the position and I have a faith of a mustard seed, then he'll have to do what I need him to do. Boy, there's a tough word there when it says anything is possible. It does not say anything is guaranteed. But boy, I wish it did. I wish there was a word there that said, if you believe, then God guarantees to do it. But he does not say that, which leads to tension number 4. The risk of being hurt by God and throwing away your faith. Do you know how many situations are the alternative of this? Do you know how many people have emailed me, called me, met with me, not because God answered their prayer, because God didn't? Now what? You can hear the hurt and pain in people's voice when they say things like, I asked God to take care of my Nana or my kid or my marriage, and he didn't, right? And you can hear the hurt and the emotion. What they want to say is, what kind of God doesn't do things when I asked with faith? In church, there's few things that will stress me out as much as this tension point right here. My number one stress, and it's not even close, my number one stress in ministry is that I just might, by God's grace, stir up a little hope and a little faith, and you all might pray for the impossible, and God might not do it. I feel it. It's a tension of which there is no release. Tension number 5, and the tension I actually want to talk about. These were all freebies. This isn't the, now's the sermon. Are you ready? I'm going to do the sermon in like 7 minutes. What do we do with the tension of belief and doubt? What do we do with that as Christians? How do we handle being people that are full of belief and doubt? I mean, if I asked you to raise your hand, those who've had belief at some point in time, hands up all over the room would go up. If I asked you, have you ever felt doubt? Hands all over the room would go up. If online, like, this is the most universal situation. What do we do when faith, belief, and doubt crash together? Because in the scene, it's incredible. The guy walks up to Jesus and the first time says, like, my son's been sick. My son is deaf and mute, and whatever's inside of him causes him to jump in the fire from time to time. He has watched this over and over and over, and yet still believes his son can be made whole. Is that not incredible? Have you ever felt like the longer you suffered, the lower your hope went? Of course you have. That's the most human thing ever. The longer I'm suffering, the longer I'm waiting, my hope fades. And this dad is like, no, I still believe. My son can be made whole. Isn't that great hope? The doubt then steps in beside. He says, I want someone to make my son whole. I know it can happen. Then he says to Jesus, if you can you make him whole? And Jesus goes, if? I believe he can be made whole. I don't know if you're the one that can do it. Doubt, bang. But here's the thing. Watch the next interaction. Jesus tells him, to the one who believes, anything is possible. And then the guy, don't miss it, says, I believe, help my unbelief, help my doubt. Don't miss this. This is really important. In the first moment, belief and doubt collide together. Jesus rebukes him. Next minute, belief and doubt collide together. Jesus does the miracle. What gives? What's the deal? And there's this beautiful, beautiful subtlety in Mark's gospel. In the first account, he says, I believe my son can be made whole. I don't know if you're the one that can do it. He takes his doubt and puts it on Jesus. He's got more hope, faith, belief that his son can be whole than he believes Jesus is the one that can do it. Do you see it? Next moment, he says, I believe, but with my doubt, I'm not putting it on you. I'm giving it to you. There's a seismic shift happening in the kingdom. I believe my son can be whole. I just don't know if you can do it. To I believe, I give you my doubt. You need to help me with it. Help me with my unbelief. Can I just tell you, when belief and doubt collide together and Jesus is who we're doubting, we're locked up. It locks. Like, Jesus, I don't know if you're the one. Well, we got to sort that out. In the next scene, it's, I need your help to help the parts of me that doubt. The grace and power that Jesus was about to use to heal the boy, he was going to have to use to heal the dad. We don't white knuckle our doubt to get God to move. We don't grit and bear it to get God to move. We don't fake it till you make it to get God to move. My favorite one, we don't try to trap God with our good theology to get God to move. Like, I've prayed like a theological ninja from time to time, thinking I could trap God in theology. Like, well, if this, you'll have to do this. Here's the deal. Can I just give you such a beautiful word of encouragement? Honesty is the soil where God works. Can I just I have the best news for you. Honesty. It's honest. The guy's like, oh, I believe, I need your help. The way my son needs help, I need help believing because my doubt is overshadowing me. We both need your grace, Jesus. We both need your power. And I picture Jesus having joy and delight in that moment, thinking, now we can get something done. Now, if you're sharp, you're probably sitting there like, what does this have to do with vision? What on earth does this have to do with where we're going? As I've been praying for us as a church, I do feel like embracing life of Jesus for the renewal of Southwest Nova is bones of where we're heading. But what I felt the Lord just keep pressing on me this week was this. You can't actually embrace life with Jesus until you get honest with Jesus. You can't embrace life with Jesus until you are honest. And you're not honest until you say the things that make you uncomfortable. For God so loved the world. Don't you love that verse? That whosoever believes, you know you're honest When you say the phrase, for God so loved the world, yes, I believe it, I just don't know if he loves me. Now you're honest. Jesus, I believe you died on the cross. I believe you forgive sins. I just don't believe you forgive mine. Now we're honest. Jesus, I believe you welcome people into your kingdom. I'm just not sure I believe that you'd welcome me into your kingdom. Do you hear the honesty? Let's do renewal. You can come in here and you can sing the songs and you can do all the thing. Kingdom of heaven, come now, and the band's lighting it up and someone's kind of trying not to melt your face with a guitar solo and you're all applauding after the song. But do you have the honesty to actually say, Jesus, I believe you can make all things new. I just don't believe you can make me new. Now we're honest. Can you be honest enough to say, Jesus, I believe you set people free, but I got to be honest, I don't think you're going to set me free. Jesus, I believe you restore marriages. I just don't believe you're going to restore mine. That is the heart of the soil where God does his best work. And sometimes we get trained on the journey that we can't be this honest with God. It might offend him, might make him uncomfortable. Rest assured, church, it won't. When you're able to pray and answer my question from last week, God comes where he's wanted. Do you want God to come? Honesty is yes, but not today. Yes, but not right now. Yes, but not everywhere. Now we're getting honest. Maybe it's not clicking still. I've got 3 prayers I've been praying this week for us as a church family. The first prayer I've been praying for us as a church family is a prayer of grief. I just grieved. I grieved for you. I grieved for me. I grieved for the area. And I found myself pacing and praying and grieving because I don't think the capital C Church has done a very good job of creating a space and soil for honesty. I'm not attacking Yarmouth Wesleyan, but the capital C Church has not done a great job of being a place of honesty. What do you think? What do you think? I don't think the capital C Church has done an awesome job at creating a safe space where people can say anything they need to say. I'm not so sure the capital C Church has done a great job where anybody, and I mean anybody, felt welcome to walk in and pull up a chair. Am I speaking to anybody this morning? I'm not so sure, and I've grieved that fact. But that's not where my grieving stopped. Now, you know I love you, right, church? 3 people do, and 3 are... I think it's going to be a Monday. I send my resume around. Oh, baby. You know I love you, right? Okay. Then I say this with love. I am grieving for people who are from Yarmouth, specifically, who were not given models of honesty because Yarmouth and Southwest Nova does not do honesty all that well. I'm sorry. I am sorry that the soil of the air, I'm not talking to any one person, the air of the region does nice really well. I tell people when I'm not with you, the most amazing, weird people live in Southwest Nova. And they're like, oh yeah, like, oh, the finest people. They're nice like you can't believe. You're nice, all right. You're super, super accommodating and polite most often, except for the Pubnico people. That French blood fires them up. But like, you're pretty polite. I wouldn't get a rude email per year. Per year. I got that in Fredericton per week. You're nice and you're polite, but this area doesn't do honesty all too well. You guys, as a people group in Southwest Nova, generationally true, do passive aggressive like nobody's business. And you can't be passive aggressive and be honest. We go to the altar and we die to being nice. We die to being polite. We die to being passive aggressive to birth honesty. I've been grieving for you that this was not modeled to you historically. Number two, because I am who I am, I can't sit there long before I start to bubble up with excitement. Because I started to picture our church and our community of what it would look like if we accepted Jesus' invitation to honesty. What if we actually stepped out and into the reality that Jesus is wildly comfortable with us being honest with him and each other? Now, I'm going to say crazy things like I went to CR last night, the open house. It was awesome. And I love to see our people in the program, and all I could think was, Lord, I long for a day when CR's not needed. CR was designed, Celebrate Recovery, as a room to create spaces where people could actually be honest about abuse and hurt and loss and thievery and whatever else they want to confess. And I'm sitting there thinking, God, what a beautiful picture. But it's kind of a substitute because that's what the church is supposed to be. I long to see us function as a family through the currency of honesty, where you actually feel safe to say it, to speak it, to process it. I long for it. Prayer 3. I long for hope to be stirred up in this room. Real hope. Real hope. This dad is now my hero. I don't know how long he watched his kid. I don't know how long the demons wreaked havoc on this kid. I don't know how many times that dad watched this kid be thrown into the fire. Man, I don't know how long. Never broke his hope. He kept believing. He kept picturing his kid whole. Church, I long for us to be a people group that have pictures of what we look like when the kingdom of heaven comes this way. I long to get text messages from you and emails from you saying, I was sitting having a coffee this morning. I started imagining my family and what it would look like if the kingdom of heaven crashed down in our house. I long to get emails and text messages from you that say things like, I was sitting at work, having a garbage cup of coffee, and my mind started to pray and wonder what might my workplace look like if the kingdom of heaven started breaking through. What might our school lunchrooms look like if the kingdom of heaven breaks open? What might happen in our hospital if the kingdom of heaven breaks open just a tiny little bit? What might happen at the arenas and the soccer fields and all the places we go, the wharfs, if the kingdom of heaven broke open and for you to be excited that it just might happen? I long for that, church. I also long deeply for you to say the words to me, I can't. I'm too beat up. I'm too discouraged. I'm empty. Pastor, can you wonder for me because I'm empty? And I'm going to say it, I'm empty. I am fried. I am broken. I need somebody to pray on my behalf. That is honesty I'll give my life to. The song we're about to sing is honesty with poetic artistry attached to it. It's like a modern day psalm. The song we're about to sing is a gift to you if you want to use it. If you listen to the song, it's not a song predominantly this way. It's predominantly this way. The writer of the song is processing in front of God his hope and doubt in real time, his courage and discouragement, his bravery and his fear back and forth. And so this song is a gift for us to borrow language to say, I want to have belief, but I am a mess right now, and I don't know what I believe. This song is words for you to borrow, to say, God, I don't know what I am, but I'm going to be honest.